a very quick idea of the winemaking style, which is true old world European. That's what we're trying to do. Our wines are going to be very food friendly, and I'll do that by bringing out a food pairing. We start with a red wine. We don't start with the white. We end with a white before a sweet, just to kind of show the European approach. The wines are very clean, so you really taste the true varietal. Number one is we don't blend unless it says that it's blended. We don't do the tricks with the labeling. We don't have sugar in the wines unless it's in a small bottle and it's labeled as a dessert wine. Otherwise, they're dry, meaning no sugar. We don't do malolactic fermentation. That's the number one. That's causing the white wines today to be the buttery. So you have oaky buttery shards. Well, the butter component is the malolactic fermentation. In a red wine, it comes across as your heavy, rich, jammy. So we don't want heavy, rich, jammy. We want bright, clean. I don't want to say acidic because it sounds negative, but wine has been acidic for years. That's how it's a food. We seeked this place out. So I grew up in the Bay Area, and my dad was doing the home winery, and that's how we kind of got our start. And after a while, hearing enough people saying, wow, this is great, it's different than everyone else's, you should go on and do this. So my wife Christina and I decided to take the plunge, and this was about 17 years ago. And once we realized that Fairplay was where we wanted to be, we moved up here and started looking for property, and then it took a while, but we found it. This was all bare land when we got it and did it all ourselves. So it was a lot of work, but very rewarding. This was all part of the Myers Ranch, which is a very, very old ranch back in the gold rush days. I think it was thousands of acres at the time and slowly got parceled off. So our parcel's 20 acres, and that's kind of a minimum from a county standpoint. And we have about 5.5 in grapes. It's not all plantable, and we like trees. So, we did kind of the minimum that we could just because we wanted to keep the grounds looking the way they do. And the vines we wanted to plant were mostly Rhones. Rhones grow very well here. So we did Grenache. We have a few different clones of Grenache that we blend into a Grenache 100% estate blend. And then we do a Syrah and a Shiraz clone, which are side by side to show the differences of those two grapes. And then Petit Syrah is this vineyard back here that we have the most of. And then our white varietal is a Semillon. That's going away from the Rhone. That's more of a Bordeaux. But it grows well up here. Bordeaux's grow well here. Rhones grow well. Anything Mediterranean. Our difference is going to be in the style that we produce. Got to start with good grapes, you have to. And we love the fruit that comes off our estate, but it's not all. We have to bring in some grapes from outside sources as well, just to cover our needs. But the difference for us is we do everything very, very minimally. We don't mess with it. We don't use a lot of the altered chemicals and processes and things that are available to the wineries today. So the yeasts, we don't use the malolactic strain at all. And most winemakers are gonna go, how can you do that? Non-malolactic red, that's crazy. It's been around for 8,000 years. It's not crazy, it's just not done anymore. So now we're the ones kind of keeping that old tradition. Everything's done by hand. We pitchfork, we bucket, we hand punch. It's all in little bins. So it's a lot of work. We don't add enzymes when we ferment. The enzymes are used to speed up the fermentation process. To us, wine can't be rushed. It just can't. We've been doing this as a people for thousands of years, and it's always worked. So why now all of a sudden do we have to ferment in 3 days when it used to be 3 weeks? So we don't do anything to speed it up, and it retains the natural fruit. We don't do anything to alter the wine. So when you taste the bottle, you're really tasting the true essence of the grape. Our wines don't have sugar, they don't have malolactic, which is a lactic acid bacteria which converts a green apple malic acid to a sour milk lactic acid. So that covers up fruit. We want to taste the fruit. We don't even do blending or new oak, so when you taste it, you really, truly taste it. And it all starts when those grapes come in, without adding all the chemicals or processes. But it takes time, so we're here till December, January, still barreling down when everyone else is done by October. But it's what we chose.
Once it goes in barrel, the aging continues.
Yes.
We don't rush through that process either. Our wines are in barrel. The reds, most of the reds are in barrel for 3 years. Then we bottle them and they're down for another couple of years until we release them. With the non-malolactic style, it requires a little bit of extra aging, but after that it continues to age. The wines don't quickly fade, they keep getting more complex and rewarding the longer you can hold off on drinking them.
And our wines are actually very clean because they haven't been altered in any way. The oak barrels we use are 3 years, but they're all neutral. We do 100% oak. We don't want to force an aging. So the reason we use the barrels is to help it balance in time. It takes 3 years for tannins in a Petit Syrah to come out and mellow out enough to drink, as opposed to using chemicals or doing something else like blending it just to get it out. Or just drinking astringent wines. You shouldn't have to. So, we'd rather take the time, finesse it, and because we've retained all the natural acidity, we don't even do a cold stabilization, which would drop out tartaric acid, even on whites. And so most people don't think that way today. Everything is done for the quick market. And so our whites with very, very low sulfite, at or below organic, can age for decades. And the reds even more. So it's kind of coming down to the old way. It wasn't that long ago when, as a people, we thought wine gets better with age. It's supposed to. Now all of a sudden we have born-on dating, and wine is consumed within a couple of years. It doesn't make it right or wrong, but we've lost that aspect of the traditional European style, and that's what we're trying to hang on to. But it takes time to get there, and when it does, the balance really shows all the fruit without the sugar. You don't need sugar to have fruit in a wine. The sugar kind of clashes with the food pairing, so we're trying to make a food wine, not a drink.